Hi students, I'm so excited to do this project with you guys today. I did it with my girls and we had a blast. So let me introduce you to where we're headed. This topic for today is called In the Garden, and we're going to be doing some botanical art with plants and organic materials. Now, all through history, artists have loved to be just um, exploring and amazed at the beauty of God's creation. So artists from Rembrandt to Van Gogh to Monet to O'Keeffe have all marveled at the beauty of these botanicals. And in fact, as Christians, this is really special to us because the scriptures teach us that we began in the Garden of Eden. And in fact, our Lord was crushed in the Garden of the Olive Press, called Garden of Gethsemane. And all of the scriptures and the Word teaches us through our understanding of nature. He teaches us that death in the seed produces new life, that sowing leads to reaping, pruning and removing dead branches removes sin from our lives. The fruitful deeds, he talks about how he wants to display the fruitfulness and the fruit of our spirit and our obedience. He talks about end time judgment as separating the wheat from the chaff, and our forever home in the New Jerusalem, where we'll once again have access to the tree of life. So all of these beautiful pictures are seen as we look at garden and plant life. I want to start with this one beautiful video. It's artwork by Jamie Scott, and he spent 3 years making this incredible time-lapse photography video of spring. So just give yourself a moment to enjoy and marvel at God's incredible work. Now, hopefully that was really inspiring for you guys. Let's get started on what your project is going to be for today. I want to start off and ask if you would ask mom and dad if you could take time to go on a walk and get some supplies for your art project today. I would like you to grab a pair of scissors and a bowl or a basket and gather some organic materials. So with your parents' permission, if you could get leaves, flowers, grasses, dirt, twigs, pine needles, pine cones, rocks. Don't start thinking of what you're going to make just yet. I'd love you to get at least 6 of each item and hopefully preferably in the same size so you have plenty of materials for you to work with. After you get home, if you could organize your supplies and choose a nice location that you want to work, where you're going to end up photographing, taking a photograph of your final piece, preferably a place that has lots of natural light. And you'll want to separate your basket of goodies and try to group them with like items. So for example, spread out your materials in matching piles so you can kind of see what you have to work with. And you can use for your background either like the concrete of your patio or stone, wood, or even a piece of paper for your background. So let's take a peek at some options you have and what subject matter, what we're going to be creating with all of this incredible material. So I got this idea from an artist by the name of Vicki Rollins, and I saw some of her work that I thought was so beautiful and how she used all these different materials to do these portraits. And so I wanted to give you the option of either doing today a self-portrait. I also saw some work by this artist, Mr. Inoue, who did lots of insects and animals, all sculpted and laid out, designing and replicating what God created with some more natural materials and then photographing them. So you could do a self-portrait or you could do an insect or an animal of sorts. I even have included in the assignment some printables that you could use if you wanted to use these illustrations or even have your own drawings and then be adding all of your natural elements to your artwork. Or if you wanted to do a particular face or character or design one on your own. So I hope you're going to have some fun with this. I wanted to do a radial design for my project. So I'm going to show you a short video just on what radial design is, if this is one of the choices that you want to select for your artwork. Take a peek at this. Trimming all the edges of your plants and flowers and leaves. And I'd also recommend a background sheet if you want to try black or white, or if you like, you can use the back of whatever area you're working on, whether it's your table or outside patio. It'll all be just fine. Now the radius of a circle is from the center of the circle to the outside edge. And it's called a radial design because we're going to take the same elements and we're going to rotate it along the edge of the circle, just like if we were making a pizza. So as you can see in this little quick radial design I drew out, whatever's happening in this slice of pizza is going to be the same exact thing happening as we rotate from the center of the circle out to the outside edge of the radius. So for example, if I wanted to add a new shape here, I could do a little black circle, turn the pizza, and whatever I do has to be the same element in every single quadrant. So if I'm doing that, say instead of drawing with our plant life, let's deconstruct this and kind of use some reverse engineering to see how that happened. So the last step I did was adding these 2 little black berries on the side of each rosebud. Okay, so you'll notice with radial design, a lot of it has to do with counting. So I'm removing the 2. I'm also wanting to, with radial design, look at the length of things. I also added 3 flower petals to each section. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. So to keep your design symmetrical, you're going to need to be counting however you're placing each item. Where it's placed also matters. So for this little weed sprig, I put it on top of each of those purple leaves. Notice it always came out of the top and the middle, top of the middle, top of the middle, here and here. And as we start to deconstruct it and pull it apart, you're seeing those pizza spokes a little bit easier. I put these little rosebuds in between. Ta-da! These guys were kind of a little mess in the center. And I started off with my 5 petals. So whenever you're setting up your radial design, it doesn't really matter how you begin, but just making sure that you rotate and each design in each section is going to be the same. Okay, so let's recap some options that you have. You can try the idea of radial design. If you'd prefer to do your own illustration and add some botanical elements, you may, or if you'd like to do a self-portrait or even just some type of scene. Here's some student examples that were done by my girls that I thought you'd want to take a peek at just to get your ideas flowing. So hopefully too, as you get to smell the amazing flowers and plants and leaves that you pick from your backyard or your neighborhood, that'll inspire you as well. If you love this project, when you're all done, I wanted to encourage you to keep on learning some more. There's cool apps, one called Flower Checker, where you can scan a particular item or flower and it can tell you all about that plant and not only its scientific name, but how that plant can be used for medicinal purposes or what it's been used for historically. Apologia Science has a really amazing workbook that you can study botany even further and just understand the amazing way that God's designed plants to be such a blessing to us. So have fun learning more about cooking with herbs and plants and creating flower arrangements or anything like that. When you're all done, make sure to help mom and dad clean up and put all of that amazing stuff that you got to pick from your garden and make sure it gets composted. Don't put it in the trash can, but get all that good organic material back into the earth by putting it in your green clippings bin. And make sure we get a beautiful photo of that. Maybe you could print them as cards or give them as gifts for family members later on in the year. So I hope you had a great time doing our project today. Much love. Miss you guys and can't wait to see you again. Take care.